Sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, for every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, hey, we're still marching onward with our medical myths. Of course, this was listed out as the 12 medical myths that even your doctors believe in. And we get up to about myth number 7. I'll sort of go over those who may be joining us for the first time and mention what some of those older myths may be. We'll head on some newer ones today. Of course, too, being a day where we're alone, you can call in and ask a question, make a comment, anything on your mind is okay with me. 412-825-6262, 412-825-6262. Speaking of events, hey, this past weekend, I didn't make it out there, but I'm sure many of you did. Mother Earth expose, seminar, you name it. It was supposed to happen out at Seven Springs. Anybody who went, who has an interesting perspective to share with us, please give us a call to tell us how things went out there this weekend. 412-825-6262 is the number to do that. Of course, I'll give that number additionally throughout the hour. Archives are up, folks. I mentioned on Friday that finally the techie has resolved the archive issue. All the shows, the previous shows, except for today, of course, I'll need a few minutes after we've completed the show today to put this particular show up on the archive, but all other previous shows are now up there for your re-listening enjoyment, or if you happen to have missed them, and that's where I seem to get the majority of my email, people who've missed the show, say, hey, I can't get it, I want to catch up. Well, now you can. Just head to DennisJCourtney.com. And on the opening page of the website, look for that icon marked Archives. Click on that, and now all of the previous shows are up. And after about 15 to 20 minutes of our completing our show today, this show will be up. Hope you enjoyed that. Through the Spirit number, just fresh in my mind still, is Deanna Naylor with us last week talking about some things that are going on new at Fruit of the Spirit. But what is not new is this remarkable product that we first brought to you over a year ago. And we still remain, it appears to be the only distributor of the product in the entire western Pennsylvania area. You're not going to find it in stores. You can come on in here and try a taste of the stuff. We'll give you a free book, too. The book's called Harmony, written by our married friend, Deborah Ray, as well as with Dr. Young and Dr. Reyes. I'm also told that if you order, and here's the number to do so, if you order this $29.95 product using this 800 number, 1-800-442-3793, not only will you get the product, you'll get a free copy of the book. So one way or the other, you can come in to see me. I'll give you a taste of the stuff, plus give you a book entitled Harmony, written by Deborah in collaboration with the two docs. Or you can call at 800-442-3793. So, what else? Oh, calendar-wise, let's take a look at what we got up and coming. Now, we're going to be turning the page on Friday. Remember, it's Code Pink starting Friday. I bet you I'm already putting out the APB for whatever truck driver happens to be passing through the point on Friday morning. Give us a call. Let's see if the thing turns pink on schedule. It's my guess it will. And we'll be off to the races for an interesting month of breast cancer awareness. As you know, I've got my own special little perspective on that. But that'll kick off on Friday. What else? Oh, as we turn the page into October, of course, guest-wise, Dr. Hahn is going to be back. Dr. Hannah Solomon, that is, a pediatrician who helped bring to you a wonderful way to get rid of the issue of an allergy-laden fall, as well as upper respiratory infection in the fall, through the use of nasal washings, her particular product called NasoPure. On the 11th, the girls will be with us. Of course, we'll be smack dab in the middle of Breast Cancer Awareness Month by that time. Three Rivers Thermography, a group of thermographic technicians traveling throughout the area, visiting many doctors. They come to our office twice a month. They are in many other offices. We'll share information with you on them to get you connected. Don't be running out to get pressured into having mammograms. Thermograms are the way to go, and we'll bring that whole topic to you when they're with us on the 11th. Then, toward the third week, as it should be, third week is always an important week up there at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group. Bill Henderson will be the featured guest up there on the third Thursday of the month, Days In, just south of Butler, 7 o'clock, talking about cancer treatments, alternative cancer treatments, and as it stands right now, that's your guest lineup for the month. So, we have been dealing with the issue of medical myths. It's been fun. It's been revealing. Many of these myths, you already knew them as representing what they really did, which was an out-and-out, sometimes lie. It never ceases to amaze me what Joe can bring up and enlighten us all. It has been an enriching couple of shows. We'll continue with that show today. Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a short break? When we return, let's get into these medical myths. Let's get into phone calls from you, too. Hey, were you up at the Mother Earth festivities there at Seven Springs? If you were, how about sharing some of what you experienced with us? You may call on any matter, the number 412-825-6262. But we'll be back in a minute to start with the additional medical myths that even your doctor thinks are true.
This is Dennis Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to An Impact on Your Health. Heard here in this Monday morning version of the show, post-weekend. I hope you enjoyed yourself this weekend. Maybe you went up to spend some time at the Mother Earth festivities at Seven Springs. If you have, and something struck your fancy and you want to report to all of us what that was, give us a call today at 412-825-6262. Whatever is on your mind is okay with me. We're going to have a good time today. I'm going to go over a couple of things in the news and then get to some additional medical myths. I do hear a knock on the door, so why don't we let you on in the store? What's on your mind? Hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
You had Jimmy Rogers on your program a while back.
You talking about Jimmy Roberts?
Roberts, yeah, the cardiologist.
The cardiologist, sure.
And I understood him to say that AFib patients, he was talking about AFib,
Yep.
should take vitamin K2. Is
Yes.
that right?
That is exactly right.
Well, I got to reading about K2, says it promotes clotting. Seems to me like that'd be the last thing AFib patients would want to take.
Actually, K2, there's K1 and K2.
Yeah.
And there is a coagulation issue that comes along with, I believe it's K2, but it is
K2.
Yeah, it is cardiac beneficial, and so to the extent that everybody who has AFib is usually put on Coumadin. Have you been put on Coumadin?
No, I turned Coumadin down.
I'm
on nattokinase.
Ah, yes. Well, my hat's off to you, because what you did learn from, and I really can't stress enough, the positive of use of K2 in supplementing is far outweighing any of the negatives, even in an AFib patient. So, as diametrically opposite as you think it may sound, to be taking K2, you still need loads of it. The point that needed to be made, and it looks like you glommed onto it appropriately, is that if you have AFib and you're in a category they call Category 1, where you have no other factors that go along with it other than possibly hypertension, then you didn't need to be put on anything at all. And by the way, did you have other factors other than high blood pressure along with your AFib, or just those two?
No, my blood pressure is pretty low.
All right, see.
Hey, that brings up another question. How low is too low for blood pressure?
Well, I'll tell you what, as I watch and observe patients, I'm saying that 90 over 60, in that 90 range systolic and below 60 diastolic, would appear to me to be the range where you can pretty much say that your blood pressure is getting too low.
Mine read 83 over 43.
So that we do, I think
that's unusual. It usually reads up around 100.
Okay, well, don't ever let one blood pressure, and by the way, if it's on the high side, don't ever let blood pressures taken in a doctor's office due to white coat syndrome, which I think you know what that means. There have been more people misdiagnosed as hypertensive because their doctor insisted that they go on a blood pressure medicine after they took their blood pressure in the office. Turns out, although I take blood pressures in my office, I rely mostly on the blood pressures that are brought to me from the patients at home, not for the ones taken here.
I've been listening to you too long to let the doctors insist this and that.
Well, that's great. Look, I'm glad to hear you're on the NAT. I think that NATO is a good move. The message for all of you folks with AFib out there is, Dr. Roberts would have said, now there are patients over the age of 70 who have multiple medical problems where remaining on Coumadin seems like the wise choice. However, so many of you are placed on Coumadin just because of the AFib issue alone. You don't have a concomitant medical issue along with it, and you certainly don't have multiple issues that would mandate that you needed to be on it. So we'll have another discussion with Dr. Roberts. I'll bring up that issue of K2 with him right now. Let's just say you need all the K2 you can get, and don't worry about the coagulation property that you brought up. Even though you were accurate, the benefits far outweigh any risk when it comes to that medicine, okay, or that supplement.
Okay, the reason I asked, I got some of it, and then I read about it, and I was scared to take it.
Don't be afraid to take it. Move on. Please do. Okay?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the call. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. With a kickoff, Jimmy Roberts. Yes, Jimmy Roberts. And AFib, the AFib issue, once again in the forefront when the issue of being put on Coumadin, which this individual declined, I think is the way he phrased it. He declined. I like that. That has some moxie to it. One of the things in the news, and by the way, the number 412-825-6262 is wide open now if you'd like to get in here. One of the things that I came across my desk this past weekend, and I think we were one of the earlier ones that really promoted this organization. It turns out to be a stellar organization that is so unique. We here in Pennsylvania, I think, are very fortunate to have something called the Pennsylvania Health Care Cost Containment Council. Now, this is a unique group that you'll remember, without too much prodding, a number of years ago brought the issue of medical errors to the forefront, and then was given the task of coming up with itemizing, documenting the medical error experience of all Pennsylvania hospitals. At the time that it was first proposed, they were to bring us an annual report stating all the medical errors that occurred in all Pennsylvania hospitals. The intention initially was to allow you, the public, to be able to select the hospital that you choose based on knowledge of their experience within their hospital on these medical error issues. And so the long and the short of it would be that you could identify your local hospital as one that you would want to allow yourself or members of your family to become admitted to, knowing what their error experience was. Now, things have evolved pretty much away from the original intention, I think it's fair to say. Hospitals reared their heads, and they were not happy that they were going to have to pull the curtain back on the wizard, expose the king as wearing no clothes, and they jumped in, and I think they were so onerously intended that they changed that real quick. And what I thought, and of course we should have known better, was going to be a wonderful thing for Pennsylvanians to be able to have at their disposal. By the way, the only state of all 50 that has such a organization that does this medical error computations. They're still doing the computations. I think we're just getting caught short on the information. That's the part that we got let down on, because they muddy the water so much that we can't make the choices that we thought we were going to be able to do and thought we were going to be able to make in order to select a hospital of our choice based on their performances. Okay, so here we are. It's now 2010. I think we first had a run-in with the Healthcare Cost Containment Council in the early 2000s. But once again, the issue of medical errors comes up. In particular, according to the new report, now this is out of the Post-Gazette yesterday, according to the new report, about 1 in 6 patients who undergo advanced cardiac procedures. This is one of the big items in all hospitals, especially tertiary care centers. According to the new report, about 1 in 6 patients who undergo advanced cardiac procedures in Pennsylvania must be readmitted to a hospital within 30 days. The most frequent cause is surgical site infection, and these infections significantly increase cost and the likelihood that patients will die. That is a staggering number. I can't recall infection rates so high as is being reported now in the most recent report from this Pennsylvania Healthcare Cost Containment Council. We're given no information as to what hospitals might very well be having this experience, but it seems to be across the board something that's common to all. They always want to talk about the hospital too. I know they're talking about Allegheny General Hospital, for instance, having such a good record when it came to low infection rates for central line insertions and taking care of those people who have central lines. But with respect to this issue of having cardiac procedures done, no one seems to be getting a pass. So on the one hand, healthcare cost containment can relay to you the experience statewide. I don't see where they're able to tell you the names of the hospitals and what individual experiences are, but that's only in the state of Pennsylvania. We've got 49 other states out there that don't even have such a reporting system. Now, that's statewide. Federal-wise, it looks like the condition for Obamacare, and that bill is called what? The Patients Protection and Affordability Healthcare Act. That's what it's called, Obamacare. Anyway, doesn't look like it's much better, not much help in the federal side with getting this under control too, because according to what I can read based on the article of yesterday, only if a hospital is demonstrably among the worst in inflicting preventable harm on patients will it face Medicare financial penalties, and not before the year 2015. Okay, got that blurb out. The buyer beware. I know that sometimes you can't decide on where you're taken in a cardiac emergency, but if you have an elective cardiac issue, you better be asking what the infection experience is at that hospital that you intend to support through the use of their expertise, because it looks like there's a big problem out there with it. Okay, enough of that. Let's get down off the old high horse and talk to you about medical myths. Now look, anything on your mind still goes if you want to bring your issue to the forefront, especially when I hear about the Mother Earth group up there, and anybody participated in that this past weekend. 412-825-6262 is the number. I'll be waiting for your knock on the door while we proceed. Now, last week, started last Monday, I brought to you literally the theme was medical myths. And the theme was brought to me by an email sent to me by Dr. McCullough. He sends these emails all over the place. You may have even gotten it. Turned out it was a nice way to bring up issues that many of them we have debated hotly on this program. And turns out that probably to you, a steady listener, they weren't medical myths to you at all. Although I got to admit, in a couple cases, a couple of them caught me off guard. Well, let's just quickly go over the myths that already were discussed here. And remember, as you hear it, and as it's stated, the fact that I'm stating it means it's a myth, folks. It is a myth. So if when you hear it, you go, geez, I wonder about that. I'm already telling you that if you hear it mentioned in a phrase, it already means it's a myth. So you don't have to worry about, geez, I wonder if that's true or not. I'm telling you, it's not true. Here we go. The number one we started with was that cardio was one of the best types of exercises. Well, that's a myth. How about this one? Vaccines are safe and effective. A myth. Fluoride in your water lowers your risk of cavities. A myth. GMO crops are safe, well tested, and economically beneficial. It's a myth. We got stuck on this one on Friday. Sun causes skin cancer. A myth. A big, fat, bold lie myth. Sun does not cause skin cancer. It's black. Vitamin D does. Saturated fat, on number 6, saturated fat causes heart disease, and that's about as far as we have gotten. There were 12 myths. We're going to pick up on some additional ones today, starting with number 7. Here's myth number 7. Let's see what we can say about it. Number 7 myth goes like this. It says, artificial sweeteners are safe, well-tested, and help promote weight loss. Safe, well-tested, and help promote weight loss. Well, let's take it and bring that into pieces. Break it down into pieces. The first part of this about being safe, I don't think is going to get by any of us. Lord knows, as many times as we've had guests on this particular show, especially on the blue sweetener, on the aspartame, the one that seemed to really be embraced by the food industry. It's found in all the soda drinks, except for very few. Safe? I doubt it. Well tested? I think we've blown that one out of the water. There's not been well tested. The point I'd probably want to stick with today to promote it as a myth even caught me by surprise, and that is this issue of it helping to promote weight loss, which I think everyone is utilizing these sweeteners to decrease their caloric intake, and in so doing, not take on additional calories, and in so doing, potentially help the battle of the bulge that they may be experiencing in their own weight loss history. Well, turns out most people use artificial sweeteners to lose weight. The amazing irony, according to Joe, is that nearly all the studies that have carefully analyzed their effectiveness show that those who use artificial sweeteners actually gain more weight than those who consume caloric sweeteners. Now that one caught me by surprise. And as it turns out, they try to give you some supporting data to help explain why that is so. And here is the supporting data that helps to explain why, in fact, it's a myth. Hey, who knew? It's a myth that using artificial sweeteners help promote weight loss. Why? Well, they say the reason for this ironic reality, although it's still being investigated, there are several potential causes. Here they come. The number one, they say, is sweet taste alone appears to increase hunger, regardless of caloric content. I'm unaware of that. I didn't know that. Did you? Point number two, artificial sweeteners appear to simply perpetuate a craving for sweets. And overall sugar consumption is therefore not reduced, leading to further problems controlling your weight. I didn't see this. I'm unaware of it. And how about you? Do you think it's an accurate depiction of why artificial sweeteners actually turn out not to promote weight loss at all? And then finally they say artificial sweeteners may disrupt your body's natural ability to count calories, as evidenced in the studies such as a 2004 study at the Purdue University, which found that rats fed artificially sweetened liquids ate more high-calorie foods than rats fed high-caloric sweetened liquids. Well, this one may be a dilemma that marches on for quite some time. I think the mythical component of the statement is certainly well known to us in the first two components, which is artificial sweeteners are safe. I don't believe so at all. Well tested? Absolutely not. As far as promoting weight loss, hey, I get to read some more because this one catches me off guard a little. How about, is it doing the same for you? Anyway, enough of the number 7 myth. Let's move to number 8. Here it is, soy. Remember, if I mention it, it's a myth. Soy is a health food. Soy is not, evidently, a health food. Let's see why not. Soy, the meteoric rise of soy as a health food is a perfect example of how a brilliant marketing strategy can fool millions. But no mistake about it, unfermented soy products are not healthful additions to your diet. As it turns out, this unfermented component is the key issue with respect to soy because, as you're going to find out, there are very healthy soy products, but the unfermented ones are not so. And so the emphasis should be on the unfermented when compared to the fermented. Unfermented and processed soy products are things like soy milk, soy cheese, soy burgers, soy ice cream, all of which are actually harmful and have been linked to things like malnutrition, digestive disorders, immune system disorders, breast cancer, thyroid disorders, kidney stones, severe food allergies, impaired fertility. The list goes on and on and on. unfermented soy products are not helpful, and I don't believe that the message has gotten out enough on making this distinction between the unfermented and the fermented. Turns out properly fermented soy products or organic soy products are extremely healthy. And the representatives of the healthy category are things like tempeh, miso, and natto. These are all fermented soy products. Tempeh, miso, and natto. You've heard them mentioned many times on this network, on this station, and they are extremely helpful. But the unfermented, absolutely not. And the final point to make on the issue of soy products, which probably is the final exclamation point, is that keep in mind more than 90% of American soy crops, they're genetically modified. So now you have another reason to be wanting to stay away from them. Okay. Number 9, and one we'll probably spend a little bit of time on because I find this one to be universally, even by my patients, to be universally embraced as true and valid, when in fact this is a big myth that I think we have to spend a little bit of time on. Here comes the number 9 myth. Whole grains are good for everyone. Oh, I can't tell you how frequently we'll be having a discussion in my office with my patients talking about, I might have found that they had a high hemoglobin A1C. As you know, I think I've invented a term that I've yet heard from anybody else called the closet diabetic. I have exposed many closet diabetics, and we get into a discussion of diet frequently here in the office because of the person who has the normal fasting blood sugar, but when they get a hemoglobin A1C run on their blood work, we find out that they are well over the diabetic line. And it's led to the coining of a phrase I think I've brought to the forefront called the closet diabetic. The person would have no idea that they had crossed that line because the medical professionals who get blood work on them are only getting the fasting blood sugar. And that's coming in to be normal. Never ordering a hemoglobin A1C, which I think everybody out there needs to be telling their doctor they want to get a blood test on, because as long as they coincide a fasting blood sugar that's normal with a normal hemoglobin A1C, well, you're not in a closet, you're not out of a closet, you don't even have a closet to worry about. But it's the countless numbers of people that I find who have a abnormal hemoglobin A1C, indicative of frank diabetes, with a normal fasting that is the only one blood test that their doctor has ordered. Anyway, the conversations in this group of people has led many times to my discovering that they don't quite understand the issue of whole grains, because they'll say to me when I ask them about their diets, well, I don't eat regular bread, I eat whole grain bread, or I eat Ezekiel bread, or I eat organic bread. And admittedly that every single one of those advancements over the white bread, which is just really a handful of dirt, probably has more nutrition in it than a slice of white bread, because all the good stuff has been taken out in the milling process to get to that white refined flour. And so those who are able to consume whole grains bread, or the Ezekiel breads, which are sprouted breads, absolutely, in terms of nutrition, are getting a better bang for the buck. They are getting a nutritious food. None of the nutrients have been milled out and been refined at all. However, it's still a carbohydrate. In fact, it's the very same amount of carbohydrate in a regular slice of the white bread. And this appears to be the big fallacy that my patients don't quite appreciate yet, and I'm trying to get that message out. I'm trying to do so today because the issue with taking in carbohydrates of this magnitude, whether there's nutrition in that carbohydrate or not, the carbohydrate component of that food is what brings the harm, because with it will be increased insulin levels. And if there's one group of people or a number of groups of people that should be staying away from these kind of carbohydrates, it would be the overweight, the diabetics, those with high blood pressure, those with high cholesterol, and those with varying protein metabolic types, which just don't handle the carbohydrates well at all. So as nutritive dense as these carbohydrates can be, and I believe whole grains are very nutritive dense, it doesn't change the fact that it's still a carbohydrate. You know, there are only three foods when you get right down to it: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And so the carbohydrate intolerance that we have evolved to become in our generation, that's now being conferred onto our children's generation, means to get a second look at this carbohydrate issue. It needs to be observed in terms of their diet much more closely than it has been. And as long as the hemoglobin A1C and the fasting blood sugar jive and sort of tell the same story, no problem here with respect to eating the whole grains and the Ezekiels and the organics and everything else. But if there is an issue or one that is looming, the best thing to do would be to seriously decrease and diminish one's carbohydrate intake, even though it may come in the form of whole grains or other stealthy carbohydrate preparations. All right, let's do this. Take a short break. We got more myths to go. We're coming up on myth number 10. Hey, there's only 12, folks. We may get through them all today. You got any questions, you want to make any comments, feel free to do so. 412-825-6262. We'll be back in a moment. Move on.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I am Dr. Dennis Courtney. I'm with you on this Monday version of the show, post-weekend version of the show. Steelers win again. Charlie Backs was unbelievable yesterday. Looking forward to next week's game, or not you. We're talking about medical myths today. Joe Mercola got this one kicked off about a week ago and gave us 12 medical myths. We've been plodding through them. We're coming up on the number 10 one, and it looks like we're going to get through most, if not all of these today. But we always allow time for you to come on into the store and get off your chest what's bothering you. 412-825-6262 is the number to do that. That's 412-825-6262. I do hear a knock on the door. Come on in the store. Hello and welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dr. Courtney. It's Jerry.
Hi.
I was calling to just add a couple comments regarding the whole wheat bread.
Go for it.
You know, you were advising us and informing us about the fallacy of people getting too caught up in eating whole wheat bread and then thinking it's fine. But I did want to augment that a little bit in that you mentioned, for example, the Ezekiel bread.
Yep. Sprouted breads.
The other whole wheat breads. If shoppers are careful and they read their labels, which I'm sure a lot of your audience does, and when they are choosing a bread product, at least select the ones that are higher in fiber. And of everything that's on the shelf, there's just a few that have fiber contents that are close to 4 or 5 grams of fiber per slice of bread. And if they do that, it will at least reduce the net carbs that are available, when you ingest the bread. Compared to most of the commercial brands, even the ones that are labeled as high or as whole wheat, still don't have a high fiber value. So you have to be very, very selective in the ones you pick. The Ezekiel bread is one, for example, that does have a high fiber content, and there are a few others, but that's what the shoppers, your listeners need to be looking for. If they are going to be eating a whole wheat bread or a whole grain bread.
Now, right off the bat, do you recall, in other words, hey, be a label reader. Thank you very much. That's excellent advice. But as you're reading that label, every one of those items would have to have a carbohydrate content. How many grams of carbohydrates are there in a slice of Ezekiel bread? Do you know?
I don't recall offhand. I would guess it's probably on the order of maybe 13 or 15.
Okay, and
I can't recall.
And if it is, that is on par with the carbohydrate content of regular white bread. Is it not? Am I wrong about that?
Well, it is, but if a percentage of those carbohydrates include insoluble fiber, so you take a slice of bread, so let's say it's 15 grams, just for the sake of conversation, 15 grams of carbohydrate in a slice of bread. If you take 2 slices of bread, one has 15 grams of carbohydrate and 1 gram of fiber or less, and one is 15 grams of carbohydrate and 5 grams of fiber, now your available carbohydrate is less.
Okay, that's why you use the term.
Some of those carbs they're counted as carbs, but they're in the form of fiber that's going to pass through your system.
Yeah, you use the term net carbohydrates, and that's a little word that has come up since the Atkins generation, which says that because you can't absorb some of these carbohydrates and the fibers you wouldn't be able to absorb, they remain in the colon, and as such act as they're great for keeping patients regular in terms of bowel function. You're saying that one should consider. I think that's a good hint to make. I need to find out a little more about the carbohydrate content and what the net value is. You say it's a straight, if the fiber content out of a 15-gram slice of bread, you say if it's 5 grams, then really you're only going to get 10 grams of carbohydrate that gets into the bloodstream. Is that what you contend?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Good point to make. Let me mull that one over, but it makes sense.
Okay.
Good work. Thank you very much for the call. Okay. Here you go. Hey, my listeners, what do you think? We're talking about myth number 10. What's myth number 10? Well, get a load of this one. And this is to my vegetarian friends out there, in particular to my vegan friends, who every time I meet one of you, I'm fearful for you. Anyway, here's the myth. All plant-based supplements are as good as animal supplements. What do you think? I'm telling you, by the mere fact that Ricola writes it in that form, he already is telling you it's a myth. Let's get to the nitty-gritty here and why it should be. Why would that be a myth? Well, the primary example here is that the omega-3s, and it's very important to realize that not all omega-3 fats are the same, and that the type and source of your omega-3s will make a big difference in the health benefits it provides. Now, a little bit of science here. Turns out there are 3 types of omega-3s fats. One is called DHA, which is docosahexaenoic acid. Big mouthful. DHA is what we'll call it. One is EPA, which is eicosapentaenoic acid, and one is ALA, alpha-linoleic acid. These are the big 3 omega-3 fats. Many people don't realize that most of the well-known health benefits associated with omega-3 fats, such as mental health, the stronger bones, and heart health, are linked to, here's the phrase, folks, are linked to the animal-based omega-3, which is the EPA and the DHA, and not the plant-based omega-3, which is the ALA. Now, I think that's an earth-shattering statement that I would want, especially all vegetarians, to be aware of, and that by consuming ALA, which is the only kind of omega-3 fat that you are going to be able to get from a plant source, that you do miss and are missing a lot of the omega-3 benefits that come from the animal source, which are the DHA and the EPA. ALA, which is the type of omega-3 found in, for instance, things like flaxseed and nuts, is converted to EPA and DHA in your body, but only at a very low ratio. So yes, your body does try to even allow you to take ALA, you vegetarians, and help you out, but it can't do so with the efficiency that by receiving the actual item itself could have helped you out originally. So even if you eat a large amount of ALA in the form of plant-based supplementation or just plant-based foods, your body can only convert a relatively small amount into EPA and DHA, and only when sufficient enzymes are present. So this doesn't mean that plant-based omega-3 fats are intrinsically harmful. They're not. Or that they should be avoided. They shouldn't. The only thing that you really need to want to do is include animal-based forms as well as plant-based forms of either foods themselves or at least in the supplement realm. And you regularly include omega-3, ALA, plant-based foods, as and you get in the flaxseed and hemp into the diet, that these are always combined with animal-based omega-3 fats. This is why I get very concerned with my vegetarian, I have relatives that are vegetarian, and I'm hoping, I'm always concerned that they are getting the proper nutrients. Any vegetarian who especially the vegan form of the vegetarian, who's very strict and very orthodoxy about following their regime, these are the people that are going to really miss the benefit of getting animal-based as well as plant-based nutrients. So you should be able, hopefully, and you wouldn't be going against the religion, to at least take supplements that are animal-based and not worry about the foods. If you want to be a vegetarian, you go right ahead. But make sure you're supplementing the DHA and the EPA, and you can't do it through ALA sources alone. Okay, so does it for myth number 10. Here comes myth number 11. I think we've talked about this before. I'm feeling good. I'm thinking my listeners already know that. Here it comes. Milk does your body good. Can milk do your body good? Well, Mercola said, and I think I got to agree with him. The answer to that one is yes, if it's raw. If that milk is raw, meaning untouched, unpasteurized, unhomogenized, it's got more nutrients than you'll ever know, and therefore it is absolutely something that to do well for your body. Unfortunately, the myth insists that conventional pasteurized milk that has health benefits, which is far from true. Conventional health agencies also refuse to address the real dangers of growth hormones and antibiotics that are usually found in the dairy farmers trying to get a better yield from their cows. I'll tell you that that one pretty much doesn't fly anymore because the big suppliers are demanding that the individual dairy farmers don't use growth hormones and antibiotics so that they can say that they're antibiotic and growth hormone free. So this is now becoming less and less of an item than it once was. But in terms of recommendations, Joe would say, I tend to agree with him, that he doesn't recommend drinking any pasteurized milk of any kind, including organic. Because there's another big play. You can go and get organic milk on the shelves, okay? But if it's on the shelves in your supermarket, it has to be pasteurized or it won't be there. So the key is this milk, has it been pasteurized or not? Because once milk has been pasteurized, its physical structure actually changes in a way that actually causes allergy and immune problems. Important enzymes like lactase, they're destroyed by that heating process, which causes many people not to be able to digest the milk. Additionally, vitamins like A and C and B6 and 12 are all diminished, and fragile milk proteins are radically transformed. I mean, you want to transform a protein, bring on the heat. And with pasteurization, which is a heating process, you destroy all the wonderful proteins that can be found in milk and radically transform it from a health nurturing to an unnatural amino acid configuration that worsens your health. The eradication of beneficial bacteria through the pasteurization process also ends up promoting pathogens. Now, there's one I would not have considered. That by pasteurizing to kill bacteria, which was the whole idea for the pasteurization process, you end up promoting pathogens rather than protecting you from them. Unknown to me before. Thank you, Joe. The healthy alternative to pasteurized milk is raw milk, which is an outstanding source of nutrients, including the beneficial bacteria such as lactobacillus and acidophilus, vitamins and enzymes. They're all in there. And it turns out that of the 50 states, there are only 6 states of the 50 that will allow for the retail sale of raw milk. Here they come. There's good news here, by the way. California, Connecticut, Maine, Pennsylvania, Washington, and Arizona. Now, yes, it is legal to purchase raw milk in Pennsylvania. The rules for how you have to do it are burdensome, essentially. And we had the guest, the dairy farmer gal, the one that ran a raw milk, the dairy farm out in Route 28, going towards Katanning. But the issue was how you get that milk. It turns out you have to take your own container, to the dairy farm and actually fill it yourself right there into your container, not one of theirs, and then and only then can you purchase that raw milk. I know there's offshoots of that. I don't know how they get around it, but that's pretty much as it was explained to us by a dairy farmer who we had on our show a while ago. So, milk does your body good is only true if that milk turns out to be raw milk. Now, here we are in this home stretch, this gun lap. We are at number 12. Let's get number 12 out of the way so we can start new issues when we're together on Wednesday. Here's the number 12 myth. low-fat diets are healthy. Now, this is a little different than the issue of animal supplements versus plant-based supplements. The low-fat myth may have done more harm to the health of millions than any other dietary recommendation. Again, just as the recommendations to avoid sunshine has increased melanoma rates, by the way, I didn't mention that, and it has. Low-fat craze led to increased consumption of trans fats, which we now know increases your risk of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Trans fats is that sticky little issue that government finally jumped into here in the last few years. It's still out there. It's still tough to avoid. I know that restaurants, big chains like McDonald's and the like have switched over, but in your own home, you're your own best enemy and best protection for ensuring that your family doesn't get any of those trans fatty acids. Primary cause of excess weight and chronic disease associated with it, that is the consumption of the trans fats, is that you'll end up eating too much sugar, especially fructose, but all sorts of all sorts of grains, which are rapidly converted to sugar in your body. So, this low-fat craze was a terrible thing that we had foisted on us a number of years ago. My brother-in-law continues to be the poster child for a low-fat diet. We all wish him well. He called me, by the way, after the other show and was listening the entire time. So, Jim, if you're listening today, salute to you. Bongos in the background say, well, look, it's our time out of here today. I enjoyed spending it with you. Glad we've completed the Mercola 12 medical myths. We'll be on to a new topic when we see you on Wednesday. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AM Impact on your health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-94...